All right, guys, it is the first week in the NFL. We are back. Like we said, this video is coming out a little later than we wanted, but life has got in the way. We got a busy 9 to 5. They're burning me out. They're burning him out, but we're here to give you our video. These usual videos will come out Thursday, Friday at the latest, but today is Saturday, so we'll hopefully get this out Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll see, but we're back. Week one predictions. Adam Bauer, my co-host, he's already had one. He took the Cowboys plus the 7.5. The Eagles almost lost that game completely. I mean, they almost got upset. You watched the game, right?
Yeah. Cowboys were one pass rusher away, baby, and that pass
Yeah,
rusher
yeah.
is on the Packers. So it was a good game. Jalen Carter definitely blew it, but
Oh my God,
I
yeah,
don't know. I
idiot.
called the under too. Not gonna pat my own back, but
No, you did, and it looked like the over was going to hit. I mean, that was one of the most wild game I've seen in my first game like ever. Not just because it's the Eagles, but like the
it
first
was
game of the
crazy.
season. Yeah, and CD Lamb, he makes a couple of completions. Eagles probably lose, so I'm glad the
Yeah.
Eagles won, but I didn't cover. So you're up 1-0 so far. So we'll have the scoreboard counting after this first week. But let's dive right into it, guys. Like I said, we're going to go over every game, give our betting prediction, who we like, and then our three favorite best bets at the end. So if you like and subscribe, goes a long way with this small channel. So let's get it started. All right, and our first game, we got the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders versus the New England Patriots. Now, this game opened at 3 points, but now it's I see pretty much everywhere at 2.5. If you could get it at three, if that's your way you want to go, shop your books. Always shop your books. But right now it's 2.5. A lot of changes for both these teams. Both new head coaches, new coordinators all around. Um, New quarterback for the Raiders, Geno Smith. You have Genti, the best running back out of the draft class. They drafted, I believe, with the sixth pick. They did have Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper said, "Peace out, Girl Scout. I'm out of here." Like within what 2 weeks, right after they signed him, something like that. And then they did have some moving parts on defense, but they were plagued. Oh yeah, they got the Green Bay Packers, their number one corner, Eric Stokes. He is their
Mm,
number one corner, which he's not. I mean, how Green Bay said no, right? They was terrible,
yeah.
or was he
He's very
terrible?
okay. He's very okay from what I remember.
I remember he had a good rookie year though, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So
But
he
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I don't think he's a true number one, obviously. So I think the Raiders defense is gonna be in some trouble.
Right. So they had a terrible secondary problems last year, and I'm not liking it this year. Like I said, they added Eric Stokes. They added Raheem Mozart from the Dolphins. So they had the worst running back room last year. Zahir White, Madison, and Abdullah's the three guys. They were god awful. So just getting Genti and Raheem Morset upgrade. They still got Jacoby Myers. And they got arguably the best tight end in Brock Bowers, right?
Yeah.
And then they drafted two wide receivers in the draft to help with that whole offense. But now they got Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and their offensive line is pretty good. They signed Alex Capella, decent guard, so they're okay. And then we go on the Patriots side. Drake May's second year. They did draft a running back in the second round, Trevon Henderson, a lot of from Ohio State. People love him. They do sign Stefan Diggs. He's coming off an injury, and plus he's doing some booger sugar on some boats. With all the ladies he was hanging out with. They bring in Harold Landry. A lot of big signings. Harold Landry, who was a beast for Tennessee. Millen Williams, who they give a massive contract, came from the Eagles, and Millen Williams was a part-time. Well, he didn't play as much as Jalen Carter or Davis, but I mean, he played really well. So they gave him a monster contract. Austin Hooper, tight end. Carlton Davis, they got him a cornerback, and then they got Robert Spillane, who will start for them, and Jalen Hawkins, a safety as well. So they did a lot of big splashes. They did lose a couple guys, nothing really worth mentioning. Maybe nobody really. Jacoby Brissett, maybe the best guy they lost. Other than that, though, I don't think there's nothing they have to really worry about. They drafted their starting left tackle. He'll be starting, the left tackle. So a lot of moving parts of both these teams, and you know, I don't know where. I don't know, who do you trust more? Do you trust Pete Carroll or with this roster, or I mean, what are your vibe with both all of this acquisition, these two guys?
I think it comes down to the quarterbacks. I mean, Geno Smith was good in Seattle. If he can be good in um, Las Vegas, he might be able to pull it out. But I think the Patriots are kind of a team on the rise. Drake May looked pretty good last year. They have a top 10 defense, a good running game. If May can run and make the throws when he needs to, I'm liking the Patriots. I'm reading here that this is the first time in 17 games that the Patriots aren't underdogs, which is the longest
Oh,
streak in the NFL until this week. They're minus 2.5, but I like the Patriots this year overall, so I'm leaning that way.
yeah, a lot of people are like, we got Mike Vrabel, great coach, did some miracles in Tennessee with that not great, so great teams he had over there. Also, you know, I don't know. I like the hype, and I don't like the hype just because it's a lot of new parts, and you guys see how they mesh well. But there's a lot of veteran presence there, as in the head coach who's been through the ringer to help him guide through. I think the young guys. So good points all around. Just to talk about the injuries real quick. For the Patriots side, Diggs and Gonzalez are questionable again into the game. Gonzalez being their star corner, Christian Gonzalez, and they put a few guys. Robinson's in the IR, Jalen Polk, that are wide receivers on the IR. So there's some moving parts here. So, and for the Raiders, nobody really significant. Aiden O'Connell's in the AR, and Kenny Pickett's questionable, but who cares? Nobody really, no big starters. So, all that being said, I there is a lot of hype. I believe for the Patriots. I believe it's so. But in this game in particular, I know it's in New England. I mean, let's just get right after it. Yeah, I know it's in New England. But besides Diggs, who else is there in the receiving room? I don't really know who besides who do you trust in their offense? Like, just because they draft this guy from Ohio State doesn't mean this guy is going to be you know, uh, gonna make the running room back way better than it is. I'm not sold on it. Like I said, Diggs is hurt, and when I look at the depth chart here, other than him, the wide receivers, if Diggs plays, it's Diggs and Demario Douglas. Douglas was actually not pretty decent, but if Diggs doesn't play, it's Douglas, Kashawn Bote, how do you say his name, Mac Hollins. That's about it. So I think this is going to be uh, I don't know. I think points are going to be hard to come by with the Patriots, especially if Diggs plays, even a little bit. I think that it's going to be hard to come by. So I'm right away just going to say I'm taking the Raiders plus the 2.5 points. I'm probably will take the money line. At money line, you get yourself, even more than even money. Um, I'll still take the 3 points too, because like I'm just gonna my theory here is um I really don't trust this offense. That's basically it. I don't trust this offense. I know they're going to want to pound the rock all the time, but I don't think if it's a low scoring game, I'm going to take the points. I'm losing my words here, but most importantly, I just don't trust the offense. Give me Brock Bowers, give me Jacoby Myers, give me Alshon Jenti, the new running back, and give me Geno Smith over the offense of the Patriots. That's what comes down to me.
Yeah, no, I like what you're saying. I still think I'm going to stick with the Patriots defense and their run game. I do think the Raiders have a more explosive offense, but if the Patriots can keep a cap on it, maybe they can pull out the 2.5. So I'm going to stick with the Patriots.
Right. And just to let people know, just a little betting tidbits if you want to know, the Raiders are 3-13 straight up in their last 16 road games. So that does not bode well for me, since they're terrible on the road apparently. But look what they had at a quarterback last year. Patriots are 6-2 straight up in their last games versus the Raiders. So they got a good running record. And if anybody wants to bet the over and under, the over is 15-5 in the Raiders' last 20 games versus the AFC East opponents, and the over 6-1 in the Patriots' last 7 games dating back to last year. So, guys, take it for what it is. It is the first week. Remember, a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness. But I'm taking the Raiders plus the 2.5 or anywhere better than that. And Adam is taking the good old Patriots to cover the 2.5 points. All right, we got a real barn burner here. The next game, the battle of the AFC North, we have the Bengals versus the Browns, and we have the Bengals favored by 5.5 points, and the over under being 47.5. And you could get 48 as well. So it's hovering around 48 points. Um, you know, the Bengals, they got to do something. Joe Burrow got the weapons. I feel like his career is wasting with the Bengals because the Bengals owner are one of the cheapest owners in the NFL. I know they signed T. Higgins, but like they had a big thing about them being super cheap. Also, the Browns, they're cheap as well, and that's no surprise. But the guys are everybody says arguably he's the best quarterback of all time. But I mean, when are we start going to say like I don't know whose fault is it eventually? Is it the Bengals' fault or is it Joe Burrow's fault that they can't? I know he got to the Super Bowl, he lost to the whoever he lost to, but Tampa Bay, I think. But when is it? Is it Joe Burrow, or what do you think? Or do you think it's the Bengals? I mean, they got all the offensive weapons, but I mean, where does the buck end with the quarterback or with the organization?
I think it's the organization. I mean, the Bengals have one of the weirdest strategies around, paying so much for two top wide receivers, a terrible defense. It's just a very odd makeup of a team. I mean, Burrow is awesome, but the teams win Super Bowls. I don't think he's, some demigod that can win a game by himself. But no, I think it's the organization.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you got a generational talent in Burrow, and this is what you're doing with them. So yeah, I totally agree with you. They signed their best defender. They finally gave him a long term deal, Hendrickson. So at least they did that right. Um, so let's get at the Browns here real quick, though. I think the Browns have had a lot more moving parts. The Browns have like 10, 20 quarterbacks. You never know who's gonna be gonna be I mean, we know it's gonna be Joe Flacco, but they signed all these guys. Sanders they had Kenny Pickett, they Gabriel from Oregon, and they bring in Joe Flacco. So these guys had galore a lot of people. They really didn't do too much. They did draft that guy Juke Judkins who got in trouble legally, and then they're hoping him to take over the running back room, but you know he won his court case or it didn't go for forward, and now they're able to sign him. But I don't think they did sign him. So nothing really big on the offensive side besides Joe Flacco. They brought him in. He will be starting. They still have Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy looked great when Jamie Winston when he wasn't throwing interceptions. Throwing to Jerry Judy, he was catching 30, 40, 50-yard pass, and they got him behind him. Cedric Tillman, not bad. They still got a good tight end if he can stay healthy. David Nagohu. I always say that guy's name wrong, but this is what it comes with the Browns. This is like my bread and butter when it comes to the Browns. It's that potentially their front seven could be like nasty. They have Miles Garrett, obviously, arguably the best defensive end D lineman in the league. They went to go and draft that guy from Mason Graham from the Michigan. He was a top 5, top 8 pick. I think the first defensive lineman taken in the draft. Oh no, it was Abdul Carter. Then it was him. So he has a lot to live up. They go sign Malik Collins on a 2-year, I think $20 million deal, and then they still have I cannot pronounce his damn name. They have Alex Wright and Muhammad Diabate. Hopefully I said the right. And they have the backup. Their backups, Joe Tyrone Chanuki. I mispronounced that wrong too. These weird names, but that front seven, those guys who they brought in and drafted, they could do a lot of damage. And it finally seems like they got some. They finally got Miles Garrett some help.
Yeah, the Browns are a decent team, I think. Joe Flacco is who knows what he's got left. I don't know if he can throw it more than 30 yards, but they I still think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. It's just a mess of the organization. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And like I said, none of these teams really brought in any big names. Like they both they re-signed their guys. They mostly went through the draft. Like I said, they got Hendrickson. They re-signed Hendrickson, the Bengals. They drafted Shamar Stewart, sorry, another DN, and they drafted another linebacker, Demetrius Knight. So they both these teams are living off the draft, and hopefully, they can hit a home run with them. You know, it basically comes around this. The Bengals defense is not good. The Browns offense is not good. The Cleveland Browns defense could potentially be good. It's their meat and potatoes, and the meat and potatoes for the Bengals is their offense. So who are you going to believe? Who are you going to trust? Do you trust the Bengals offense kid put up enough numbers? Because they still have some good corners. The Browns, they still got Greg Newsome the second, and they still got Denzel Ward. That is a nice combo, especially Denzel Ward. He's a beast, and so that's what it comes down to. Do you think the Bengals offense has enough firepower to overcome the Cleveland's defense when it's healthy, as it is right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, one of the biggest weaknesses for the Bengals is that O-line. So they have weapons, but can they protect Burrow? And Burrow is amazing at scrambling and making something out of nothing, but I don't know. They have, it's like they have a Ferrari and they drive it on a gravel road. Like I don't know why they can't just spend the money to get the O-line. I don't get it.
That is I couldn't put a better words for you, man. That is great. They have Mike Gesicki at tight end, T Higgins. They have Higgins, Jamar Chase, the best wide receiver of all the league, Chase Brown, a running back. They have all these weapons, but nothing like to hold it in place offensive line wise. Let's go over the injuries real quick. Nothing really significant for both teams. They no starters on either side actually for Browns. I think their best one is their starting center is questionable, and that's about it. Other than that, both these teams are coming in relatively healthy. I'll do the first one on this one. I just believe. Let me give you some betting stats and maybe help us out. The Bengals are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, dating back to last year. They're 4-1 straight up and 4-1 against the spread against the Browns. That means they have the Browns' number. The Bengals are 7-2 against their spread and 9 road games going back. So they're covering spreads left and right. The Browns are 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 games, and the Browns are 2-6 in their last 8 home games. So everything. Oh, and here's another one. The Browns are 0-5 in their own division in their last 5 games as well. So no, against AFC opponents. I'm sorry. So I just come out and say it. I'll start first. I like this number. I'm gonna throw my dice in with the Browns. I really am. The Bengals are notoriously slow starters. I know they said they're changing up this year, doing new things, blah, 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 blah. But I think it's the first week of the season. First week of the season. Crazy things happen. I think the Browns could put enough pressure to kind of shake the Joe Burrow a little bit. Now he's still going to get the ball to Jamar Chase. He's still going to get the ball to his weapons, obviously. But I think Joe Flacco, Tillman and Jerry Jeudy are actually decent. That's a nice receiving core. It's not terrible, and they got a good tight end, David Njoku, when he's healthy. So I actually think the Browns. Yeah, I know, dude. I'm terrible saying these names. Dude. So I'm taking the Browns plus the 5.5 points. Division game, first game of the week. I don't like the Browns running back room, but I think they can hang in there enough to give the Bengals a run for their money. Is that insane? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if it's insane. I'm definitely not picking against you every time on purpose, but I'm going with the Bengals. I think that offense should be able to score, not at will, but if they get down, they have the firepower to start throwing haymakers, and I think they can put up enough points to cover. That's where I'm at. So
No, you're totally right. This could be a total blowout. It could be like 42-14, 17. Like the Bengals just light up the scoreboard. Like they have the potential of doing that, and the Browns could just be the Browns as usual. So
I mean, I'm more comfortable taking the Bengals than I would have been taking the Eagles. It
Really?
was a bigger spread. I would take the Bengals at 7.5 personally.
All right, go Cleveland, baby.
But
Come on.
yeah, no, we're gonna have definitely different. The scoreboard's gonna be wild for us at the end of this too.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank God for Red Zone. Besides their commercials now, but that's a different story. All right, guys. Well, you guys, Adam got the Bengals covering. I got the Browns plus the points. So we'll see where we come out on that end. All right, our next game. These teams are usually pretty crappy, but they're not. One team has a lot of promise, and one team is still crappy. We have the Cardinals versus Saints. Cardinals being favored by 6.5 points on some other books. So we'll shop your books for the best number, people. And the over/under being 44, 43, around 43 and a half, 44. You can get the over/under at. So Saints obviously in rebuilding mode. They I think Spencer Rattler is going to be the starting quarterback. They said so. The guy they drafted, Slough, is not going to be. So I don't know if that's a good idea, but like honestly, what can you say about the Saints? Like I know they say tanking's not a thing, but what is there's when I look over their offseason, everything, I try to look at their team and I try to find some kind of silver lining, but to be honest, dude, I don't see too much. Let's briefly go over them before we go to the Cardinals, okay? Like I said, Spencer Rattler, he played. Did you see how he played last year? He was like
Awful.
awful. Like, where is he doing? Alvin Kamara, that guy is still there, stalwart. I don't know why he hasn't asked for release or get traded because maybe to win a championship, but maybe he won with Drew Brees. I can't remember if he did, but I don't think so. But okay, so he's still there. Chris Olave, that's not bad. Okay, so actually, when the wide receiver room looks halfway decent. You have Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. He was really great burner when he was healthy last year, and Brandon Cooks. They're probably hoping Cooks brings a little more of that some magic back that he had years ago. And also they traded for Devon Villi from the Broncos. So he's a young guy. He showed some promise last year. So not a bad wide receiver room, not bad at all. I don't know. Their offensive line, the big guy they drafted last year for the first round pick, Calvin Banks Jr., he did not look so good in my opinion. So that might be a bust. Hopefully he turns it around for them. The right tackle, Fiega, he's not so bad. Other than that, there's some patchwork here. And usually you can hang your hat when it comes to the Saints defense. They can, but I believe the Honey Badger retired. He is gone. Their heart and soul, that the big safety. They still have Cameron Jordan. He's been there for forever. Brian Brees, I think he was a first rounder or a first round from 2 years ago. So they still have him. Demario Davis is actually a really good linebacker. That's not bad. Chase Young is there, but he's out for this game. So that's a recognizable name. Not bad. Pete Werner, not a bad linebacker as well. They got Kool-Aid. They got Justin Reed, the big safety acquisition they got from in the offseason. They signed him from the Kansas City Chiefs. And they fill in the Honey Badgers role with Justin Blackman. Blackman was the safety for the Colts last year, I believe, or 2 years ago, or the Jags, one of those two teams. So they can hang their hat on their defense. Okay. So I feel like there is some parts here. I know I said that they're rebuilding mode, but like it really comes down to the quarterback play. And that's where I'm like, this is awful. Like, are you really gonna start the year with Spencer Rattler?
No, I agree. I mean, this could have been a place for Flacco or some sort of veteran to come in and solidify the quarterback position. Rattler looked terrible. They do, like I said, they do have a good wide receiver room. Kamara is still just playing fantasy football. I think he has himself in every league. He just thinks that's how he is supposed to play the game. But
Yeah.
they're still just a mess of a franchise. I think they do randomly start seasons strong. I see that they've won a record 6 straight season openers, longest active streak in the NFL. They seem
Wow.
to start a little bit hot and the wheels fall off. Kamar gets hurt, something happens, and they just don't have the heart to fight on.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara. I mean, look, I'm gonna call him now. So if we come back to reference, I'm gonna say that there's a chance this is his best year of getting traded because I think the writing on the wall might be towards the end of the season and be like, okay, look at we're not making the playoffs and we don't want to be in limbo, like staying like in the mid. We want a good pick. Why don't we trade him and we'll trade him and we'll give it like I don't know, we'll get something back from him. I could be wrong. Maybe he wants to end his career there and maybe he helps out the young guys. But I think, do the guy a favor and trade him away, in my opinion.
I,
Um,
I agree. I mean, they're supposed to be the worst team in the league. They need to make
right.
moves and finish this rebuild, gear up for a top quarterback, and look to the future. Unfortunately, this is going to be a wasted season for them.
Right. And so now let's talk about teams that since we're talking about rebuilding, let's talk about a team that was rebuilding. Jonathan Gannon, who was illegally tampering with the Cardinals when he was with the Eagles, the head coach. Not the biggest moves as well, but progressively they're getting better and better every single year. As you could, Cal Murray has to stay healthy. That's number one. They do have now a good backup just in case he does get hurt. Jacoby Brissett is their backup, so not a bad backup. You could do worse than him. You still got James Conner and Trey Benson. They say Trey Benson's going to do a lot more work this time. James Conner, the guy is a bruiser. He still gives up. He fights for a hell of a lot of yards. And here's the wide receiver room. This is where I'm like, you feel like you should have helped them out a little bit more, in my opinion. I'm not a Marvin Harrison Jr. believer. I'm just not. He looked slow. I'm talking about slow as in like he looks slow on the field, not when you're working out, not when you're doing a 40. I'm talking about he looked slow on the field. And then they have Michael Wilson, average at best, and they have Zay Jones. Remember Zay Jones from like Oakland? From the Raiders, and then from the Bills, and now he's on the Cardinals. He's probably going to play either third wide receiver, and they do have Trey McBride. So Trey McBride, top 5, 10, and no argument there. But I don't know about you, man. But what do you think about Marvin Harrison? I'm not buying it.
I have been a hater. I shouldn't say a hater. Not a believer since day one. He is slow. I think he was a great prospect, and I think he maxed out in college. I don't think he's going to come into the NFL and dominate. We saw it last year. He's put on 10 to 15 pounds in the offseason, so he's going to look even slower. I haven't watched him in the preseason, but I think he's going to be a good, decent wide receiver for hopefully a long time, but I don't see him as like a dominant number one that's going to change a team.
Well, yeah. People are chalking up as a generational talent, and it's I don't see it myself, but we'll hope for the best for Kim. They do have a decent offensive line. They got Paris Johnson Jr., one of their best picks from number one picks from a couple years ago. And they do have Isaiah Adams and Jonah Williams at right tackle. So not actually decent to better decent running, offensive line. Their acquisitions actually mostly all come from defense. Their big signing was Josh Sweat from the Eagles. They got him on that, I believe, a $7 million deal. They got good old reliable Calais Campbell still. I believe he's like 36, 37 years old. So I know he's getting up there, but if he could put some solid, he can still play at his age. Let's just say it like that. So it's not a complete loss. Darius Robinson, good solid D lineman. Zach Collins at linebacker, and Mac Wilson Sr. They still got Buda Baker, one of the better safeties in the league, top 10 for sure. And the guy that fell to him, who could be a steal, Will Johnson from Michigan, the guy in the draft, he fell to them. So he's the starting corner for them. So that's good. Sean Murphy Bunting, the other corner. I believe he started last year. He is out for this game, so keep an eye out for that. Walter Nolan the third as well. He is out for this game. So there it is, man. I think their defense might surprise us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is the perfect week for a surprise because defenses love a terrible quarterback, and Spencer Rattler is like chum in the water, and these guys should be able to just pin their ears back and get after him. So it's a perfect first week for them to just let it loose and get some action on the quarterback.
Great. So I'm a lot of people are jumping the Cardinals bandwagon right now. A lot of people are thinking they could possibly win the NFC West because nobody knows who's going to come out ahead since the 49ers traded all their parts and so did the Seahawks. This one's tough. All right, yeah. Yeah, I do. So like I said before, I just can't get there with the Saints, man. So I'm gonna take the Cardinals to cover the 6 points. Like I said, they're 6.5, 6. I will take the Cardinals to cover at 6 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kyler Murray, I'm not really a fan of. He usually can't win the games that you need him to win. Hope he doesn't lose this one for them, but he shouldn't have to do anything too crazy. They should be able to run the rock and dominate on defense. So I'm going Cardinals for sure.
All right, guys. The first game we have agreed on this season, of course,
Oh,
against the.
bet the Saints then, everybody.
Yeah, right. I'm serious. God, that might win it over. All right, guys. We're both taking the Cardinals to cover the 6 points because you know what? The Saints are just a garbage fire of a team. All right. Now, another divisional rival team. We have in my division, the Philadelphia Eagles. We have the great New York Giants against the up and coming Washington Commanders. The Commanders being favored anywhere between 6.5 points, and the over under being 45, 46 and a half between there. Um, Commanders surprised a lot of people. I don't think anybody had him going to the playoffs, let alone the NFC Championship. I mean, correct me if wrong. Was that on your scorebook there?
Not at all. I mean, Jaden Daniels was insane last year. I think he's going to keep it rolling.
Right. So Commanders come out of nowhere. They look great. They went to the NFC Championship. Eagles blew them out. Just wanted to mention that. And so they go to the NFC Championship, but nobody knew Jaden Daniels was going to be dynamite out of the gate. But the Giants, the Giants made some moves this year, and I like a lot of their moves. They bring in a good corner in Paulson Debo, really good corner. They bring in a good safety in Javon Holland, great. They bring in a good defensive tackle, solid defensive tackle, not better than average, and Roy Robinson Harrison. And they bring in Chris Board, another linebacker. They bring in a offensive Sam Stone Farstate, who'll be playing guard. They obviously all need help at offensive line. They always do. And they bring in, most importantly, in my opinion, two solid, proven winning quarterbacks, but more in particular, Russell Wilson over Jamie Winston. Everybody knows that Danny Dimes had left. Thank the good Lord, because Danny Dimes was awful. I hate to see him leave our division because the Eagles would kill him. But to bring in Russell Wilson, that's the big news there. Even though Russell Wilson's older, Russell Wilson on one leg and one arm is better than Danny Jones. And they have Jamie Winston. So they still have Malik Neighbors, who killed it last year. The guy is looks like an ace. Uh, they have Robinson and Darius Slayton as the starting wide receivers, and they have Jalen Hyatt as a backup. Tyrone Chasey Jr., good catching running back. Devin Singletary, he's that kind of a switch up there, good change of pace. And they drafted Cam Scatabo, the other running back. So he's a good mix of pace for the whole good catching running back. And I forgot they drafted Jackson Dart, who's probably they say might get some games if Russell Wilson doesn't pan out. And apparently he looked great in the preseason. So great for them. But before we get to the meat and potatoes, the bad thing about the Giants, we had to talk about what's always the main problem with the Giants since Eli Manning left. That damn offensive line. Okay, like Andrew Thompson, who when he's healthy, one of the best left tackles in the league, but the guy is doubtful for this game. He was hurt last year. He's hurt again this year. So that is a big problem. His backup is James Hudson III. They did sign him in free agency, averaged a better than average left tackle. So that's not terrible to have as a backup. John Runyon from I believe the Packers. He's playing their left guard. Greg Van Rotten, he doesn't remove from me. And Schmitz Jr. at center, and El Manure at right tackle. These guys are average or better than average at best, and that's not really great when you have an aging quarterback and you need a time to get to your great wide receiver, as in Malik Neighbors. But let's get to the defense real quick because I'm ranting here. I love their front seven. Love it, love it, love it. If they stay healthy, Dexter Lawrence, the top five, no doubt, top 10 defensive tackle in the league. Brian Burns was great when he left the Panthers, came to them. Another great linebacker. Just the front seven. Roy Robinson Harrison, they just signed him in a 2-year deal to come in there. He's better than average. And they drafted the best defender in last year's draft, Abdul Carter. So Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns. Those three guys could be aces. And don't forget, they have Kayvon Thibodeau. I hope I said that right as usual. So those 4 or 5 guys, that could be murderous row if they stay healthy. That's why I think they might surprise us. So wait, let's get to the safeties now. They drafted Paulson Adebo, like I said, solid corner. Deontay Banks, he's still they drafted him. It's still the thing. The jury's still out on him. And Drew Phillips at nickel, and then Tyler Nubin at safety, and Javon Holland, the guy they just signed as well on a 3-year deal. So that's where I've come up with their defense. I know I ranted on there. What do you think about the Giants offseason? And what do you think about the Commanders a little bit with the, well, we talked about the Jane Daniels, but what do you think about the Giants?
The Giants are exciting. I mean, that pass rush is going to be insane. If Abdul Carter is anything like projected, they should be really scary. Their offense is solid. I mean, my big problem with the offense is Russell Wilson. I watched Jackson Dart in the preseason, and I do think there will be a quarterback struggle within the first 5 or 6 weeks. I don't think
Wow.
Russell Wilson's good for the locker room. I've never liked him. I think he's washed. Um,
Yeah,
so
didn't he didn't Russell have that his own room like in Seattle or something like that? Like, and then
yeah,
they when what's his name found about the head coach now? No, for the whoever with the Broncos. When he was with the Broncos, he had like his own room, and then when the Peyton came in there, he was like, no, that's not happening no more.
yeah, he is a weird dude. Mr. Unlimited is what he
Yeah.
calls himself. So I think this is going to be a transition year, and they're going to come into their own. Hopefully, with the strong defense, they can start fast. But they're exciting at least. I think they deserve it. The Giants have been bad for a while.
Yeah. And okay, so there you go, guys. They did make a lot of changes. They did. So they are trying actually, to stay competitive. And I tip my hat to them. They're in a division with both teams that went to the NFC championship. So I totally get that. But let's get to the oldest team in the NFL, which they are. They had the oldest roster, I believe the oldest defense in all of the NFL, the Commanders. They got Jaden Daniel, guy looks like an ace. They got Marcus Mariota, good backup, not bad. Running back room, they did get rid of Robinson. Not the bit. I am not liking this running back room. Austin Eckler, hey, the guy, better than average, but he was not like he was a few years ago, but he could catch the ball. Then they have Jeremy Nichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Merritt. So a lot of those guys behind him, you're like, are they going to do something? Because Nichols and he's been there before, not really nothing. Rodriguez and Merritt, they're hoping they get something out of them. And now the real wide receivers, they go give Daniels more help. They re-signed Terry as they should, gave him a good deal. He should have got his money because he produced last year. They go trade for Debo Samuel. Obviously, they need him to stay healthy, but if he stays healthy, great acquisition. Debo could run the ball. He could give him jet sweeps. You get him run down the middle. Great acquisition. And Noah Brown from the Texans a couple years ago, third wide receiver. I think he got a little hurt last year too, but not a bad third wide receiver. Luke McCaffrey is their fourth wide receiver, and that's not bad. Zach Ertz, still Mr. Reliable there for the tight ends. Awesome. Um, Larry Tunsil, the big trade they made in the offseason as well. Mayor from the Texans. Nobody had the Texans trading him. I know he's up there in age. I think he's 34, between 34 and 36. So we'll see with that. But hey, they need somebody to protect him who's going to be there. He still has it. He's not like he's a bum. He's still good. Left tackle. And all around, they have some good offensive line. They have Coleman, Biadez, and Conley Jr. Those are actually good, solid line. Now let's get to the defense. Like I said, it's aging a little bit. De'Aaron Payne, Franklin Lovelu, the guy they had from last year, Bobby Wagner, Von Miller. So Bobby Wagner and Von Miller, 5 to 10 years ago, let's go just 6 years ago, you'd be like, holy, the best linebacker room there is in all of football. But these guys are now pushing it. Von Miller can't get after the quarterback and bend like he used to. He's been hurt the last couple of years. Bobby Wagner, he still can good. He's not as fast. He's not the best coverage linebacker like he used to, but he can still read the lanes, and he's actually has the green dot. He calls the plays, still smart, so good. Marshall Lattimore, don't forget they traded for him in the Saints. Great corner. And they got Trey Amos from the Bears, I believe, a couple years ago, and Will Harris, another safety they got, I believe they had in the offseason. So I kind of lean, I like their front seven more than I like their back end besides Lattimore. So I mean, what's your take? What do you think? I just went over the whole team. What's your take on the thing? Do you like that they're the oldest roster?
I don't love it. Maybe it helped Jaden Daniels as a rookie to have some, a solid older core around him. I think he lit the league on fire last year. I don't know if he can repeat that. They were just white hot. They have a solid team, but I think it really all relies on him playing out of his mind again.
Right. Jaden Daniels had to be Superman and Clark Kent. Like he had to run the ball, pass the ball, he had to do everything. And don't forget the they won a lot of one score games. The just like the Kansas City Chiefs, they won a lot. And I don't know if that's you can repeat that. It's very hard to do. And I did a little mistake there. Amos, their other starting corner, he was their second round pick out of Ole Miss. He wasn't a free agent. So I want to correct that. So this is going to be a tough game, I believe. I really do. I don't think it's just going to be hey, Commanders went to the NFC Championship, and they're going to be one of the elite teams. I'll go first again. I'll let you go first next time, okay? Um, I think there's going to be some aggression. I don't think Jane Daniels. I think Jane Daniels is that guy. I truly believe he's that guy. But they won a lot of one scoring games. He had to run the ball a lot. Jalen Hurts does that, so I'm not doubting that. But this front, I took the Giants as one of my best bets over team total wins. I think there's a chance they could even fight for second place. I really do mean that. I'm not a Russell Wilson believer either, but I think if this front seven of the defense stays healthy, they could wreak havoc on any defense. Any offensive line in this league. So I'm not real confident in this, but I'm gonna take the Giants plus the 6.5 points. I like the divisional game. Like I said, I think Russell Wilson will have some stability, at least more than Daniel Jones. But I'm hoping and believing that front seven could get to Jane and Daniels and rattle the team a little bit.
I'm going with you again. I agree. I think the Giants are going to get after him. A good pass rush, I think, is annoyed by a running quarterback. Jaden Daniels will probably get loose a lot and scramble for yards, but I think it's going to disrupt them enough. And with Russell Wilson and the Giants' improved offense, I think they're going to hold on.
Yeah, I truly believe. I think who you going to double team and who you going to who you can't really double team anybody because anybody could get loose on that defensive line, and then they blitz. God bless you, and hopefully you find that blitzer coming at you because I believe Jenny Daniels is going to be in his toes in this game. I really do. So we're on the same page here. Guys, we are taking the Giants plus 6.5 points. Remember, shop your books for the best number. But I think that we both think that front seven is going to chase Dan and Daniels. Hey, they still may win the game, but we both think the Giants will cover this game. All right. So our next matchup here, our next prediction, I'm looking forward to this game. I think these two teams have a lot of questions. They're gonna decide this season where they're going as a franchise, and that's the Panthers versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars are favored by 2.5 points, and the over/under is 45.5, 46.5, wherever you can get it. I say that both these franchises will find out where they're going because Trevor Lawrence has we got to find out what he is. Trevor Lawrence was predicted to be like the next coming of Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. He was getting so much hype coming out of college, and he really hasn't lived up to it, in my opinion. The Jaguars I think they made the playoff once with Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars have just been going downhill. They were terrible last year. And the Panthers, Bryce Young is getting better and better every single year. And they need him just to keep on taking the right next steps because they made some acquisitions for him this year. So they're helping him, but I think want him to take actually maybe a bigger leap than he is, not these little small steps. So I think these teams will find out if they're on the up, or they're going to just go back to what they usually are, bums. So you know what I mean though? It's like I feel like we need something from Trevor Lawrence, and I think we need to now see a little bit more of Bryce Young. That's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I mean Trevor Lawrence has been like on the cusp for how many years now? Bryce Young turned it around last year. I still don't know if I believe it. He's a small guy, and he played well for a while, but I don't know that it's sustainable or that he's on an upward trajectory. Where I do think Trevor Lawrence still has some potential, maybe, but like I said, that runway is starting to run out here on his benefit of the doubt.
Right, 100%. And I totally agree with you. And when I look at the Jaguars, their depth, their roster here, I don't, they hit a home run with Brian Thompson Jr. That guy was a beast. You know what I mean? He looks better than even the wide receivers picked ahead of him, like Marvin Harrison Jr. But they really So I'm not. I mean, let me ask your opinion first. What's your take, and how do you feel about Travis Hunter?
I picked him in my dynasty team, so I hope he's good.
There you go.
I think they're gonna ease him in just on offense. So hopefully he starts as a one-way player with some situational defensive stuff, because I do think they need to score touchdowns. I don't think they want to pay him that much money to maybe lock down a wide receiver. So I think he needs to produce on offense before they let him play both ways. But he is an amazing guy. His ball skills are unbelievable.
Yeah, I see. I was just wondering, like, I mean, so they did bring Travis Hunter to help him out, right? So they got Brian Thompson Jr. The guy's lights out. Now Travis Hunter, they're saying the depth chart that he's the second wide receiver, and they went to go sign De'Ami Brown from the Commanders. Commanders had a lot of hope for him, but looks like he didn't pan out. But maybe he'll do better there. And they did trade recently, as of last week. They traded for Tim Patrick from the Lions, so the wide receiver room is better than last year. That's good. I'm on the fence with Travis Hunter. I have to see where he's going to play, but good point by you. They should ease him in one position, in the wide receiver position. The running back room, who's going to be the running back? Who knows? Travis Etienne Jr., Tank Bigsby, or the new guy they drafted. It's like, who, we have no idea there. Then after that, I'm not there. Brent Strange, tight end. They lost Evan Ingram, so they got Strange play tight end. He, in his moments, looked decent. Offensive line is actually okay, better than average, I would say. Walker Little at left tackle, not bad, but they got two offensive linemen coming in hurt in this game. They're going to play, but they're hurt. But they put a lot of money and emphasis on their defense. Really quick, Allen, Walker, Armstead. These are three guys. Armstead they brought in. Allen and Walker they drafted, hoping they can be a killer duo. Not so much yet. Devin Lloyd. They have their corners. There's corners Tyson Campbell and Jerry Jones. Yeah, I did that. Not so great in my opinion. Travis Hunter, is he going to play there? Darnell Savage, wasn't he on the Packers? Darnell Savage, he's on there. He's backup safety. So they're Tyson Campbell. Okay. Their defense, I think needs a little more help here. And they really didn't bring anybody from. They brought in Fred Johnson to help their offensive line on a 1-year deal. They trade him to the Eagles. They just trade him to the Eagles. Eagles will be Eagles backup, and they brought in a center, their new center. They brought a new center, 3-year deal. But other than that, they really didn't do too much. So I don't know. I feel like they still needed to do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just both of these teams are pretty evenly matched. I don't see either one having a dominant position that's going to tip the scales. I'm struggling with this one.
Yeah, and let's jump at the Panthers here. Okay, real quick. Here's good with the Panthers. Like I said, the Bryce Young has progressively got better and better every single year by baby steps, if you will. But he's proven that he looked terrible in his first season, but then he turned it around a little bit. But I like a lot of their draft, and I like the free agent acquisitions. So Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, they re-signed him. They probably got a good report, help him out. They got Chuba Hubbard. He's looking like a diamond in the rough. The guy could do it all. He got hurt last year, but he's completely healthy now. They bring in Rico Dodwell from the Cowboys, who had over 1,000 yards rushing last year. So Rico and Chuba Hubbard could be a nice duo there. And they have Trevor Tenney's brother. So that's a good running back room. They have Xavier Leggett, and they drafted the guy of Arizona, who's a great combination of power, height and speed. And McMillan, he believed he was the number one wide receiver chosen last year. I really liked him. And they went to go say David Moore as a backup wide receiver. They went to stay him in the offseason. And Coker, who was going to be the other wide receiver, he's in the IR. They also bring in Hunter Renfro. If Hunter Renfro could bring that magic he had with the Raiders, diamond in the rough, great slot corner. Their starting left tackle, he is down for this game. They did they drafted him in the first round a couple years ago. So that's kind of a bummer. But Robert Hunt, pretty good right guard. Corbett, another good center. So depending on that left tackle, could be scary, but their offensive line is actually better than average. Could even be good this year. But this is where I like the by the way, their tier linemen, the guards for the Panthers are actually really great. But let's get to the defense. I love it. Robinson, Bobby Brown III, who they brought in, Derek Brown and Patrick Jones II. Those guys could be killer. They're great. A great front seven. I'm talking about the whole front seven. Trevor Wallace, DJ Wonnum, good linebacker. But Derek Brown and Bobby Brown the third and Patrick Johnson, if they can stay healthy, that could be a great, even potentially top 10 front seven. They bring in the safety from the Raiders, Mooring, solid. He gets to be a big thumper. They also they signed their ace corner, J.C. Horn, to $100 million deal. So there's some players in the defense, and their two interior linemen are really some of the best interior linemen in the league, and McMillan. So I think you know where I'm leaning towards. I think, and I won a lot of money off the Panthers last year. They had a good stretch with their covering spreads. And before we get into that, just to mention, the Panthers are 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 games. The over has been 6-1 in the Panthers' last 7 games. And the Panthers, if you want to bet for the Jaguars, the Panthers are 2-15 in their last 17 road games, so they're not too good. But the Jaguars are 0-5 straight up in their last 5 games against NFC opponents. So I talked a lot there. I'll let you go this time. I think I was going ahead of myself there. I'm sorry. I went on a rant there, but what do you think, man? It is a tough game, but what do you think? The Jaguars are at home.
It is a tough one for me. I do like the direction the Panthers are going, but I think Jacksonville just has a little bit more firepower with Brian Robinson Jr. and Travis Hunter. I think they pull this one out, but it's going to be a battle.
I think you make Brian Thompson Jr. You said Robinson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brian Thomas Jr.
Right.
I'm thinking of the running back. Yeah.
Yeah, who just got traded. I hear you. I totally agree with you, but I totally agree. But I think this game is going to be tight. I do think. So I'm just going to take the points. I'm going to take the Panthers with the points, 3.5. I'm going to try to get at, or if I get a better, why not? But I'm hoping Bryce Young took the next step, but I'm hoping this front seven stays healthy and they get after Trevor Lawrence. But both of these teams are going to make the playoffs. Probably not, but I'm hoping that I'm just going to take the points. I think it's going to be a tight game. So he got to the Jaguars and I got the Panthers, a battle of the Tigers, if you will. It's gonna be fun to watch, but like I said, both these teams probably not going to go anywhere this season. But keep an eye out; they might surprise all of us. All right. Well, our next game here. I mean, who's going to watch this game? I mean, Indiana is already the most boring state in our nation. So so this game is already boring, if you know what I mean. We have the Dolphins versus the Colts, and this is basically a coin flip game. The Colts are favored by 1 or 1.5 points, wherever you can get it. And the over-under is 46.5. Wow, that's a bigger number than I thought it was going to be. So, with these two teams, I can make this really quick. The Dolphins, I feel like the Mike Daniels experiment is done. You know what I mean? The guy was fool's gold. That's how I see the Dolphins. Speed, doing this and then say that, all these flashiness. And what has it got them? I think David two went to playoffs maybe one time, maybe twice. I can't really think about it. Tyreek Hill, the guy has like 9 women pregnant and he's getting, speeding tickets galore and he's hurt now coming into this season. I know he said he's probably going to play week one. Waddle, can that guy stay healthy? I think 2 seasons in a row where he missed a lot of time. A Chain looks like an ace, so good for him. But like, I think Daniel's time is McDaniels. That is. What do you think? You think it's kind of like, okay, dude, you're a nice flash in the pan, but I think it's over. Do you think so?
100%. He's like a millennial Chip Kelly or something. He comes in, acts all quirky, like he's this like genius, and it worked for a little bit. They took the league by storm, but that is crumbling. The whole system is crumbling around them, and I don't know. They're one of the most unstable franchises in my opinion.
100%. That dude, that is the best description for fucking Mike Daniels, man. That is a great one. That was amazing. All right, let's talk about the Dolphins here real quick. Tua, God help him. I hope he does stay healthy. The guy doesn't need more concussions, but good luck. They bring in Zach Wilson. He's a bust, but decent backup, I guess. And they drafted Quinn Edwards from Texas, 7th round pick. So better than they had last year. They had some of the worst backups behind Tua last year. So at least now the quarterback room is better. Hey, is Zach Wilson that good? No, but is he better than what they had last year? Yes. So okay, that's an upgrade. Devon Chain, speed demon guy, actually proof he's actually really good. So great. Jalen Wright, the backup, who's actually gets some quality time. He's out for this game. The next guy, Ollie Gordon and Jeff Wilson. I think we all heard of Jeff Wilson from the old San Francisco 49er days. Uh, and then Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Malik Washington. If they can stay healthy, if this is an actual good, strong point. Also, I like Nick Westbrook Akini, the guy from the Tennessee Titans. He only had like 300 rushing yards, but he had 8 or 9 touchdowns. He's like 6'4". He's a big body. He had 8, 9 touchdowns with the Titans. So if he get better at quarterback play, just throw in the red zone. He's a good. He's always good for a good amount of touchdowns. What I'm saying. Great running back room. Great wide receiver room if they can stay healthy. That's always what it is. Okay, Darren Waller, who came, he unretired. He goes to the Dolphins. He is out for this game as well. Julian Hill, their backup, not too bad. He's not that bad, but he's no Darren Waller. Offensive line, Austin Jackson's not that bad at right tackle. He's better than average. Left tackle, Paul, that's just going to do it for me. Brewer, good. He's actually good center. And the right guard, James Daniels, is questionable. So their defense, nothing moves for me. They traded James Ramsey. They did bring in Micah Fitzpatrick. Remember, they did the trade for Ramsey. So they do get somebody. So who do you like more, Fitzpatrick or Ramsey? My red light just went out. Chop Robertson, they drafted last year. Bradley Chubb, can he, bring some of that from we have from the Broncos? I know they had a lot of hurt pieces last year. Phillips was hurt. So this defense, it does have some players. Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Benito Jones, and Micah Fitzpatrick. Jack Jones, Rasul Douglas. Oh, they did bring in Rasul Douglas. That was a good signing because I did not like their cornerbacks. And Rasul Douglas he's actually better than he's solid. He's better than average. He was like, he put up he's been there, the Bills, and he had some good games with the Packers, if you remember, right? So their defense, yeah. But like I said, is a system. I think with the Dolphins, is the system gonna bold well? And is Mike Daniels a flash in the pan?
Yeah, I think he is, and I think the O line is pretty bad this year. So nothing breaks a system faster than a bad O line.
You are not lying about that. And they, they because of Tua, they I don't know. They should have the number one offensive line. I would have traded one of the wide receivers or something to get one of the best guys in their position because if Tua goes out, Zach, you're gonna trust Zach Wilson?
No, they're hanging by a thread. Tua, Waddle, and Hill, all of them are. They're on a knife's edge. So hopefully they get some wins before things fall apart.
All three of those guys are being held by gum and tape, literally. But let's go to the boring state of Indiana, my next door neighbor. Um, they are starting the great, the unbelievable Danny Dimes. The guy is starting for them. God knows why they didn't go after get somebody else. I would take Joe Flacco over Danny Dimes over a million times. Anthony Richardson, obviously he's a bust now, backup, cool, whatever. They still got though one of the better running backs in the league, Jonathan Taylor. The guy they had the number one eighth rush D offense in all football last year. So the guy, I know he missed 4 games last year, but still Jonathan Taylor, top 10 running back, no argument about it. Good, good. They actually have a decent wide receiver room. Michael Pittman was a disappointment last year, and I know because I had him in fantasy football. He had back problems last year as well. They say he's healthy, but Michael Pittman Jr., John Downs, Alec Pierce, he's a good burner, Anthony Gould, and Adonia Mitchell. Those are solid 5 wide receivers. I'm gonna lie to you. So their wide receiver room is actually pretty good. Offensive line, they still got one of the better guards in Quinn Nelson. They still got a great right tackle in Brandon Smith. Other guys, they're better than average. So their offensive line is actually pretty solid. But I'll quickly go over their defense here. Xavier Howard, hoping he brings something back. Charvarius Ward, sorry. They're hoping he does bring some more magic to their team. Laleo Lotu, and DeForest Buckner. Oh yeah, DeForest Buckner is nothing to sneeze about. He is still a top 10 defensive lineman in this league. Him and Pay and Govert Stewart, that's actually a pretty solid. Their front 7 is better than their back end. Now that I look at it, and I'm reminded by these names, but I'm not trying to skip over all this guy. Oh, they did bring Tyler Warren. Remember they tied in from Michigan, the number 1 from. So that's a good pickup too. So they have all the weapons on offense, and they have some names on defense. I'm not trying to gloss over the thing, but what all depends on me, and I'm not really looking forward to watching this game. Is if you have Danny Jones at quarterback, Daniel Jones, can he pass the ball accurately? Come on. I think you're in agreement there. That's what it comes down for this whole team is the quarterback play.
100%. The Colts are solid throughout their whole roster. They're like at a B for everything, I feel like. They're just pretty good at everything. But if they don't have the quarterback, it really doesn't matter. And
right.
Daniel Jones has been rough for quite a while. So I still like the Colts, I think. But Daniel Jones is not the guy. So
right.
Really
so
interesting.
Yeah. With that being said, let's go over the injury report. A-Chain and Javon Wright were questionable going to the game, but now they are say they are going to play. They are healthy, so might be some lingering injuries there. And for the Colts, Ashton Doolin and Josh Downs, wide receivers, they were questionable, but they're good to go now. So it looks like they are a little beat up as well. So there it goes. So this is what all comes down to. Oh, let me give you guys a little. If anybody wants to bet on this game, I do not advise. I advise bet it. Don't bet on this game, in my opinion. But the Colts are 9-8 against the spread last year. Not bad. I'm actually surprised by that. The Dolphins are 7-10 against the spread last year, so they had a losing record against the spread. And the under is 9-8 in the Dolphins, and the over is 9-7-1. If you want to bet the over or under, I'll let you take away on this one, Adam.
Yeah, for me, I like the Colts. I think the consistency across the board is going to help them exploit the weird weaknesses in the Dolphins, and I think they squeak it out. I do think it'll be close, but I'm sticking with the Colts.
Yeah, man, I have to tend to agree with you. Gun to my head, and you would have to put a gun to my head to bet on this game and watch this game. I would take the Colts. I think the Colts will turn into a running team. I think they'll use Danny Jones because Danny Jones has legs. Don't forget. I think they could use. Maybe they do a little, play action pass. No, what they do in the league with the Philadelphia. The quarterback decides if he's going to run the ball or hand it off. RPO, yeah. So maybe they do that. But I think I'm going to take. Honestly, I think the under is here to play to bet the under. But I think if I have a gun to my head, I'm taking the Colts. So guys, we're both taking the Colts. we're advising not to bet on this game. We're not watching it, but I think the best play is the Colts to cover the 1 or 1.5 wherever you can get it. Even how this might be a good game to bet straight up, but we're going with the Colts on this one. All right, guys. So this matchup is one of the better matchups of all of Week 1 in the NFL. Both these teams both went to the playoffs. Both these teams, if you look at the national guys, they're NFL analysts. A lot of these teams have them in the NFC Championship, the Super Bowl, and this is Adam Bauer's favorite team, the home of Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. Maybe, who knows?
Maybe. There, baby.
The Lions versus the Packers in good old Lambeau. I'm seeing it. The Packers favored by 2 points, 2.5, wherever you can get it. And the over under being 47.5, 47. So that came down from 49. It opened at 49.5. So, as the Packer fan here, man, I'll let you take it away. What do you think? I'll let you take away the Packers first. Like, what are you thinking? And how about this game? Like, what do you believe in?
There's a lot of moving parts in this one. I think the Packers are. Everybody's calling them a hot team. It's making me nervous. So this week is a huge test to come out hot. Matthew Golden is getting rave reviews in training camp. They said he hasn't dropped a pass in training camp. If he can jump in and be a real wide receiver one that the Packers have desperately been needing to change that offense and give it some more firepower, I think they're going to be a dangerous team. They were top 5 almost offense last year. Adding him with a solid run game, we've invested into the O-line. I'm not saying it's going to be dominant, but if we can have a solid O-line, I think we're a pretty complete offense. Obviously on defense, everybody's been talking about Micah Parsons. We got the Edgerrin Cooper jersey here. I think I wouldn't call them Batman and Robin. I think they're going to be like Batman and Batman. They're going to be just out there destroying people. The corners make me nervous. We did make an acquisition for
Nate Hobbs.
And I don't know that he's going to play this week.
He's questionable.
He is questionable. So between that and then losing, Kenny Clark and Slayton on the inside of the D line, that is another question mark. So there are question marks on this team, but it's a very young team that is all about competition. So I like where they're at. I like the coach. I like LaFleur. I like Halfley. I'm super excited for this year, and I hate that we have to start the season against the Lions, but might as well start against the best in the division.
Yeah. As a Packer hater, when I saw DeMarcus Ware go there, happy he left NFC East.
Micah Parsons. You said DeMarcus Ware. That's okay. That's all right.
Oh, Lord. I need another cup of coffee. So when Micah Parsons left, I was like, oh, yes. But, oh, shit, because we played the Packers in the playoffs, and it was a close – no, wait, we played them in the first game of the season in Brazil, and it was a close game. You're right, though. When I look at the Packers offseason, I thought they would keep Hardman, but they released him, right? The McCarl Hardman. So not that they needed him. They drafted Golden. They had a lot of wide receivers there. You guys re-signed Aaron Banks, McManus. You guys also signed Isaiah Simmons, but you released him as well. So your 2 signings and Isaiah Simmons and Hardman, they didn't make the final roster. And the big acquisition being Nate Hobbs, 4 years, $48 million. So coming in from, the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe. So they needed somebody because Jair Alexander got traded to the Ravens, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. And, he was hurt and he was got, a little attitude. So, I think they're used to not playing with him. But the running back, the cornerback position is all changed. Stokes is gone. Jair Alexander is gone. You still have the all-star safety McKinley. I think Nate Hobbs, he is questionable, but I think that was a solid pickup. Nixon, I don't know. How do you feel about him?
He's just all right. We did get
Okay.
Bo Melton, a former wide receiver, to convert to the corner this offseason and make the 53-man roster, which I think is pretty crazy.
Wow.
He
I
may
didn't
even
know.
need to play some this week with Nate Hobbs out.
That is pretty interesting. I do like the Bullard. I think Bullard was pretty solid, right? The
Yeah.
slot.
Yep.
But the meat and potatoes before we get to the offense is that front seven. And that now it is Rashad Gary, Michael Parsons, Adrian Cooper, Wyatt or Wyatt, whatever how you say his name,
Mhm.
and Quay Walker. These are all um, top picks in your guys in what you guys did in the last previous drafts. Michael Parsons, a top 10 defender in all of football. And Adrian Cooper, and he's a big up and coming linebacker who had a great rookie year last year. So I think the front seven is the meat potatoes for this defense. I think the goal of the Packers, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they're looking to get home at the quarterback to relieve some of the cornerback play.
Absolutely. And I mean, as the youngest team in the league, they do have guys that need to step up. I think a lot of the projections this year are banking on guys like Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, even Stackhouse, and some of these guys to take that next step. So that's what makes me nervous about the expectations for the Packers. There are a lot of pieces that need to hit for them to make it all the way like they're expecting.
Good point. They have a lot of depth though. Like Luke Van Ness is a backup, and that's a good guy to come in there. And same Stackhouse. That's a lot of coming guys come out and just keep pressuring the offensive line. And your offense, it's good to know about Golden. They needed a number one guy. They have him as a second wide receiver. As I'm seeing right now, Reed, Wicks, and Siobhan Williams are all questionable for that game. So keep an eye on that for anybody who wants to bet on the Packers. Um, Matthew Golden and Dobbs. I think Christian Watson is out. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. So the wide receiver room is a little bit of beat up here, but it sounds like their number one pick, and Dobbs. That's actually still not too bad, but you want Reed to be in there and you want Wicks to be in there. Tucker
Yeah.
Kraft and Musgrave, still a good tight end combo. Kraft being the better one, obviously. And I mean, I think a lot's gonna help with the Packers. I think people are glazing over that. In my opinion, I think Jacobs needs to, if he has the same year he had last year, then they have a real shot of really good because he did a lot for them.
He did. Emmanuel Wilson has been a good backup. People were really excited that Marshawn Lloyd, their I believe third round pick from 2 years ago, was finally going to be healthy after missing all of last year with injuries and then fluke injuries and appendicitis. He's out again. So Emmanuel Wilson will be a good backup. I was hoping we would have a deeper running back room this year.
And you got an Adrian Cooper jersey, right?
I do. Edrin Cooper, man. He was a playmaker on that defense. He was the secret sauce besides Xavier McKinney last year that, forced a lot of turnovers and big plays. So he's put on some weight this offseason. I think he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, that's scary for the all NFC. I watched a lot of Packer games, and he was all over the place. So if he just takes the next step forward, him and Parsons could be a deadly duo, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But now let's talk about the team that has a lot of coaching change. They lost their offensive coordinator to head coach, lost their defensive coordinator to head coach. Now I'm sorry, the Detroit, we all love no, not everybody, as the you're a Packer fan, but a lot of people in the nation, NFL analysts, were loving what Detroit's been doing. But now it's been a few years, you know what I mean, or a couple years. Dan Campbell, good head coach, he turned the team around. But when are we gonna say hey, okay, you got the pieces? When are you gonna go over the hump? You know what I mean? They lost in the playoffs once again to the Commanders, and Commanders, surprising everybody. So that's where I'm with the Lions. They lose two coordinators, Johnson going to the Bears, Glenn going to the Jets, but that's where I am. But let's really quickly, they not the biggest changes in on their team, but they did bring in Roy Lopez, defensive tackle. They bring in DJ Reed, who that is a great signing, great corner from the Jets. Other than that, they bring in Rock Ya-Sin, another corner from the Raiders. Avante Maddox from the Eagles. He plays slot and safety. And he had actually a really good defensive. He helped during the Super Bowl a lot. So But the big signing being DJ Reed. DJ Reed is a great corner, top 15, arguably top 10 corner in the league. They do lose Desarius Smith. They do lose their two head coordinators, but they did lose one of the best centers, maybe top 10 center in Ragno. So their team they still have the same guys. A lot of firepower on this team. Jared Goff, I think he's good, not great. Gibbs and Montgomery, lightning and thunder, baby. So there you go. One of the best duos, if not the best running back duo in football. St. Brown, Jameis Wilson, Jameson Williams, I'm sorry, and Khalif Raymond. Tim Patrick, I was surprised they traded him because they're a little thin on the wide receiver after the top three guys. So I was a little surprised that they traded them. Sam Laporta, and they, like I said, they lost their starting center, and they lost, I believe, a guard as well, if I'm reading that right. No, just the center. So they still have the firepower offense, but I'm saying, like, is Jared Goff going to get over the hump? Is he going to, like, eventually start, like, proving he's worth that trade to the Rams? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never been a believer. Obviously, he's found a lot of success in Detroit. I think he's found a way to play in the system, make all the throws that he needs to, and he's been good enough. So I until I see the opposite, he's solid. I think they have a lot of superstars, high end talent. Like you said, I think their offensive line is going to be an issue. That Isaac Tesla, they really believe in this guy, their third wide receiver. They spent like multiple third round picks, and that's, I think, why they got rid of Patrick, is because they think this is the next guy. But yeah, they're high powered. Dan Campbell, I think, crushes up meth and steroids in their Kool-Aid. Something's going on over there. These guys are, last year they were in the playoffs with like water boys and janitors, and we're still beating guys. So I don't know what he's doing over there, but I think it needs to be investigated. And I do think that the coordinator losses are going to be big this year.
Yeah, and talking from an Eagles fan, when the Eagles lost their two corners, Gannon, and we brought in, like, we did not look right, and we had to get rid of those other guys who replaced our other guys, and then we won the Super Bowl. So it's like, losing, and they're good coordinators for the Lions. So and they did bring in a defensive lineman with the first pick. They did bring in an offensive lineman with their second pick, because I think they knew they're going to lose. Maybe they thought they're going to lose Ragnall. Tate Ratledge, it was their second pick, and they brought that guy as Isaac in the third round, and they brought in another offensive lineman in the fifth round. And briefly, touch over the defense, they still got Aiden Hutchins. This was the thing about the Lions last year. They were so depleted on defense because the injuries were unbelievable. So I get that. I think a lot of people are thinking, like, hey, don't forget, before this, like, Bob, we were really this and that. So briefly, Aiden Hutchinson, guy's an ace. We all know that. The new guy they drafted, they say they got him the number one guy, Talik Williams. DJ Reader's a good defensive tackle. They still got him. That's great. Marcus Davenport, I think he's good. He came from the New Orleans Saints. Not great. He needs to help Aiden Hutchinson to get to the quarterback. Alex Anonze, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, solid linebackers. I don't think nobody's great, but I think they're good, not great. But Terran Arnold, I don't know. I'm glad the Eagles didn't pick him. I'm glad they picked Mitchell over him. I think he played okay last year, not great. I'm not a fan of their backs, their secondary whatsoever. I'm not a big fan. DJ Reed, I am a fan of him. So that was a great signing, because now you have an ace to cover all those wide receivers in the Packers, if you will. So, but other than that, Kirby Joseph, good. I mean, he's decent, not great. So where I come, their secondary doesn't what I'm concerned about, and a little bit of their offensive line.
Brian
Anybody
Branch
scared?
was really good last year. Brian Branch and
Oh
Kirby
yeah,
Joseph. As
yeah.
a safety tandem, they're good. Corners, I agree with you, but I do think their safeties were pretty damn good last year.
I forgot about that. I take that back. I did forgot. I literally don't know how I skipped over Brian Branch. Brian Branch was really great. So I take that back. But DJ Reed does change something, and I think that's good. Obviously, this team has to stay healthy. But hey, well, there's a reason why a lot of people are taking the Packers and Lions to not only make the playoffs but possibly go far. With my Philadelphia Eagles, I just want to mention that. I don't know, man. This is a tough game. This is a tough game. I will let you go first because it's tough.
Yeah. I've struggled with this game a lot. Obviously, big Packer fan. I am gonna go with the Packers mostly because of the coordinator changes. I think getting a new, play caller in Detroit and all of that is gonna take maybe a little time to get that dominant offense back. And I think the Packers are gonna be able to score. So,
Right.
and I can't pick the Detroit on the
And if this helps change anybody's minds, the Lions are 14-6 against the spread in the last 20 games. The Lions are 12-4 against the spread in the last 16 games against the Packers. The Lions have won 8 straight road games. The Lions are 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games when they're playing at Lambeau Field, which is surprising. And the Lions are 15-5 against the spread in their last 20 games against NFC North opponents. Let's give some Packers information here. Packers are 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games against NFC North opponents, but the Packers are 10-4 straight up in their last 14 home games. So a lot of the gambling tidbits of last year, and they had a great year last year before they got all those injuries, and they still made the playoffs. Top, I think, the second seed. So they did great last year against the spread. And the Packers are no slouch too, 10-4 again at home, straight up. And this is basically a straight up game. Packers are only 2-point favorite. Does that change your mind at all?
No, it doesn't. The only thing that's still sticking out to me is the Micah Parsons health and how much he's going to play. I think everybody's betting this game like Parsons is in midseason form and playing every down he can, and I don't think that's going to happen. So that's been why I've struggled so much.
Yeah, this is tough. This would be an easier pick for me if it was 3 or 3.5. It really would. I would take the Lions plus the 3.5 points. I think the line moved a half point to a point because of the Parsons trade. I think this is literally a toss-up game. Flip a coin and who wins. It's tough. I didn't, I'm not trying to be a Packer hater. I'm truly not trying to be a Packer hater, and I believe coordinators do mean something in this game. And they're in Lambeau, but I don't know if Lambeau has that just prestige like it does anymore because a lot of teams beat Green Bay and Lambeau. Not a lot because Green Bay's also had a good record, but
lately,
I think
divisionally as well.
Right, the Packers were 1-6 last year in division.
Yeah.
I think Dan Campbell is going to have this team a little more head strain on. I think the Lions, out of a lot of teams in the NFL, have a point to prove. Like, hey, we were that team, we were that dog before all the injuries. So I think they're going to come in this game and going to want to prove a point. And I think they come in and win straight up. I dropped my papers. I think the Lions are going to come up and win straight up. So I'm not going to take the Lions plus any points. I'm going to take Lions money line just to win straight up in this game, which I think this is going to be a great game. It's one of the best games all week. I think it's going to be super competitive, really fun to watch. And I won't be surprised if the Packers win whatsoever. I literally think it's a 50-50 game, but I'm just going to think the Lions, they want something to prove, and they feel like, hey, before those injuries, we were a top dog. So I'm taking the Lions straight up, and you are going with the Pack.
For sure.
All right, guys, that would be a great game. That's one of the best games of the season, so I can't wait to watch it. All right, guys. Well, for these next few games, we're just gonna go rapid fire. Spend a couple minutes on each of these matchups. We will break these games down to you guys and a little bit longer format, but we're gonna go rapid fire with the rest of these games. Let's start with the next big one. Two teams have a lot of people are predicting these teams to go to the playoffs, but also the Super Bowl. This can be a great matchup. This first week in the NFL has matchups galore, but this is one of the better ones. We have the Ravens versus the Bills. Bills being favored by, the Ravens are favored by 1.5, but when the game opened up, the Bills were the favorite. So the roles reversed a little bit, and the over-under here, I'll get for you guys real quick, the over-under being 50.5. So they're expecting a high-flying game for this one, Adam.
Yeah, I think both teams have super high expectations, and this should be a good matchup to start things off.
Right. So let's get through right away. The Bills, are they finally going to put it together? Is Allen going to be Jim Kelly, or is he going to be finally break the curse and make Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl? Okay, something Jim Kelly never did. Because a lot of hype. Josh Allen is arguably the best quarterback in the league. But you know what? Let's win a chip, okay? Because this I am with the Bills. They have to win something. And Allen is just, Allen is just he gets a lot of hype, well deserved, but they need to do something about this. The Bills, they bring in Joey Bosa, great signing. They bring in Joshua Palmer on a 3-year deal, which I think is not a bad signing. And they bring Elijah Moore, another wide receiver. So two new wide receivers who had to help them out, to help out because their wide receiver room has always been to me a little lackluster. So they bring in two new wide receivers. They still have a great defense. And I think, I mean, what do you think? I think, do you think this is their time to shine this year? Or what do you think?
The Bills?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't. I still don't think they're going to get over the hump. I don't. Honestly, I think it's the Ravens' time to shine. I think they're also on, they've pushed so close so many times, and they're both kind of in the same position, but I don't think the Bills make it.
Yeah, like I said, they have all the weapons in the ward, but like they got to put it together. Like this is the year. If you can't win with Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, Palmer, Shakir, Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuels, like this is a good offensive line. I mean, good wide receiver room, and they have a good offensive line. They have Jared Allen. Allen, people say Allen's the best quarterback now. He won the MVP. So when are we going to get it together? They have a good defense. Ed Oliver, Greg Rosillo, Joey Bosa, Shaq Thomas, Trey Davis White. Rap, Bishop. They have all these guys everywhere, but it seems as soon as they meet the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoff, they lose. So I don't get it. This is the year they got to put it together, or we got to start saying, is Allen Jim Kelly? Is Allen better than Jim Kelly? Sure, he is. But we got to start thinking like, is he gonna be cursed like him? But let's talk about the Ravens now. The Ravens have the same. Well, at least Lamar Jackson has he's I think he's been to the Super Bowl, I believe. I correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe he's another guy who I feel like he needs to start winning. He needs to win a championship too. He's another guy, 2-time MVP. But is he going to put it together?
I don't know. I mean, Zay Flowers is a lot of their offense outside of Derrick Henry, obviously. I think Baltimore is trying to hang their head on a better defense this year. That has been a bit of a struggle. They picked up some players with Jair Alexander. So, it's week 1, so he's going to be healthy for at least, hopefully, a couple quarters.
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah, exactly.
I think with a better defense, they can lean on that running game. And I think they're going to be the team to beat this year.
Right. Look at they had their the one thing about the Ravens. I want to say this briefly because I know we're doing rapid fire. The Ravens to me are hanging on to a lot of nostalgia. Now I know they have a great Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's top 3 quarterback in this league, and so they have him. So they're not just all defense, but like the Bears, because the Bears were hanging on too long of the nostalgia of 1985. Bears defense, Bears defense. The Ravens are hanging on to those Ray Lewis days, and they need to invest in, I think, at least another wide receiver. Like you said, it's Zay Flowers, and basically it. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins is moving the needle anymore? No, he's 32 years old, 33. He did nothing for Kansas City, and I think he's do nothing for the Ravens. Rashad Bateman, okay, he's a good deep threat. He's not moving for me. But so my problem with the Ravens is it's Lamar Jackson playing Superman, and then it's Derrick Henry playing the Hulk, and then you have Zay Flowers playing Spider-Man or Robin, if you will. And that's what they have. Those 3 core guys. Other than that, then it's like, okay, they have Mark Andrews. Forgive me, I forgot about that. He was a little beat up last year. Isaiah Likely, their other good tight end, he's out for the game. But what I'm saying is, I would get another weapon for this team, but they didn't. Okay, now as I went on a rant there, let's talk about their defense. Obviously, this defense has the potential to be world beater defense. They have, I cannot pronounce his name. I'm not going to try. Nadami
Matabuke?
Matabuke. Thank you.
Yep.
You start doing this. So this
Yeah.
guy's great. Travis Jones, Broderick Washington Jr., Raquan Smith, Trent Simpson, Van Noy, Wiggins, Hamilton, Starks, Alexander, and Murphy. Now, on paper, this has potential to be really great. And they did a lot of things to shore up that secondary because I believe they had one of the worst secondaries last year. They're depending on Alexander and to be healthy. They need him. The fellow Packer fan here will tell you he did not stay healthy at all. They did sign Wuze, the other corner. He was not healthy that much, and they need Nate Wiggins, who was good. He was average. For their pick. He was average, not good, not great. Maybe he takes the next step up. So Humphrey, he looked good. He looked so. I think that, but I think I'm just saying Hamilton's good. Starks is the first round pick. He's another rookie. I think the secondary, they're hoping there's potential there. They'd be good. But the front seven looks really great getting after the quarterback. They're going to stop the run 100%. It's going to be hard to rush on this team. No doubt about it. So I went on a diatribe there, my friend. What do you like? What are you feeling? Before we get to that, if they help me change your mind, Ravens are 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games from last year. The Bills are 10-5 against the spread in the last 15 games, and the Bills have won 10 straight home games. So with all that saying, there's going to be a master blaster of a game. Who do you like?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think the Bills are going to put up some points, but overall, I think the Ravens improved defense and Lamar going crazy as always with Henry are going to get the win and cover.
You're right. This is going to be a tough game. It's basically a pick 'em. We don't know who we're going to pick here. I think, both these teams they do great in the regular season. And it's like, I think whoever does the first mistake, that's probably going to be the next, whoever does the first mistake or does one mistake, that's going to be the winning side of it. So this is tough. I'm gonna just go with the home team here. I'm gonna take the Buffalo Bills. I think that they got to put it together. I think they brought in 2 new wide receivers to they brought 2 new wide receivers, more offense to help them. I just think this is the time to put it together, or this guy or Jared Allen is going to be the next Jim Kelly. So I'm taking the Bills plus the 1 point, and Adam is taking the Ravens. So, guys, it's going to be a great matchup. I can't wait to watch it. Let us know what you guys think. And our next matchup, which I think is going to be a tad boring, but here we are. We have the Steelers versus the Jets, with the Steelers being favored 3 points, and the over and under is, let me get it for you guys here real quick, is the 37.5 to 38, wherever you could find it. So the books are telling you this is not looking to be a high-scoring game. Let's get right to it. The Steelers, they bring in Aaron Rodgers. They bring in DK Metcalf. I think Metcalf still has a good amount of gas left in his tank. The Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. He didn't have that bad of a season with the Jets, but, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. I have to see what he's bringing to the table. They do trade for Jalen Ramsey, but they do trade away Milka for Patrick, which I thought he was one of their heart and soul of the defense. So they bring in Jalen Ramsey. Good. He's not the best corner like he used to be. He's still a good corner, though. They do bring in Darius Slay from the Eagles. So 2 new corners right away for the Steelers. And they bring Kenneth Gainwell to help out the rest of that running back room. I don't know if he'll get enough playing time, but those are pretty much one of the biggest rooms, the biggest additions for the Steelers. The Steelers, they're known for their defense, right? That's what they are. Mike Tomlin, he always has a winning record, but I think that shine on Mike Tomlin is kind of going away.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they are using every strip of duct tape and glue they can find to like collect some island of misfit toys to keep Tomlin's record of being over 500 for a career together. I think it's going to be enough in this game, but I don't think the Aaron Rodgers experiment is going to go is how Pittsburgh fans are hoping it will.
Yeah, I totally agree. They do have DK Metcalf. I do not like the running back room whatsoever. Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell. I do not like that running back room. So I think they're not doing any favors right there to help Aaron Rodgers. DK Metcalf, sure, he's a number 1 receiver, but then you have Calvin Austin, the third, hoping that he could bring something to them. He never started as his first year starting. Roman Wilson as well, Pat Fairmouth, Joanna Smith. They're tight ends, actually. That's a good tight ends, not actually. But I'm not liking the weapons besides DK Metcalf surrounding Aaron Rodgers. Offensive line still better than better. Good. It's good. Broderick Jones, Isaiah Samoa. They got some guys. Obviously, it's their defense. Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Patrick McQueen, Payne Wilson, Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Ramsey. And so their defense is their lifeblood. It is their meat and potatoes, as usual. Let's just go over the Jets thing real briefly here. They do get a new head coach. I'll say outright, I am not a believer in hiring defensive coaches. They need to stop hiring defensive coaches left and right. The Jets, they need to bring in a great offensive mind. You think they learned over Robert Salah? He left. Now they have Aaron Glenn. Um, you know, Justin Fields is the quarterback. I don't know what they're doing with that. He is definitely just a placeholder, in my opinion. Brees Hall, Brian Allen, Isaiah Davis, good running backs. Brees Hall, I still think something to prove. The running back room, the wide receiver room, I am not liking it. Alan Lazard and Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds. It's basically just Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, yeah, it's Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds. I'm not a believer in those guys whatsoever. Offensive line is not bad. What do you think about this? It's basically two great defenses. That's what it is, man, for this game.
Yeah. The curse of the Jets continues, though, with Elijah Vera Tucker being out for the season. I think Garrett Wilson is one of the most wasted talents in the league at wide receiver. He really hasn't had a chance to show out with Rodgers and all this carousel of shit QBs. Justin Fields is going to suck, and I think it's only a matter of time before Garrett Wilson gives up on the season and demands a trade or something. It's not going to go well, and I think Jets fans expect it every year, and it's going to be a rough one for them.
You're exactly right. But like I said, this is a battle of the defense. These guys have good secondaries. Gardner Johnson, Quinn Williams, one of the better defensive linemen in all of football. So it's basically what offense can pull the trigger and or be the most consistent. So I'll start this one. You know what? I'm not a big fan of both these teams. Not going to bet in it personally, but I'm going to take the home team plus the points. I'm just going to take the Jets plus the 3 points. I'm not a fan of Aaron Glenn. I'm not a fan of Justin Fields, but I think it's the Vegas is telling you that's going to be a tight game. So just give me the team with the points. That's basically where I'm going with this.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I think the Jets O-line is going to be bad enough to where the Steelers defense is going to, out defense the Jets defense. And I'm going with Steelers.
Yeah, I hear that, brother. They have a sack sandwich on Justin Fields, so he's gonna be doing a lot of running. So we'll see, guys. We're both probably not gonna watch this game, and we advise you to also not watch this game. So good luck betting on this one. So in this matchup, another divisional matchup, both these teams, just a couple years ago made the playoffs, had a lot of potential, and both these teams did not make the playoffs. And that's the 49ers versus the Seahawks. The 49ers being favored by 2.5, 1.5, even 1 point. So the spread is actually 1 to 1.5. It's spread out. And the over under is, I'll get that for you guys here real quick. It is 43.5 to 43 points. Shop your books as always. I keep on repeating that. Just do that. Both these teams, they both have a lot of changes. The 49ers, their defense got gutted out. And their offense, their wide receivers either hurt and some got traded. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, he is no longer there. They traded their best wide receiver last year, so a lot of moving parts for this team. Let's just briefly start the Seahawks. Bring in Sam Darnold in a 3-year, $100 million deal. I believe it's more like a 1-year deal, but they bring in Sam Darnold. He had a good year with the Vikings, but he kind of tailed off towards the end. They bring in Cooper Kupp. Does he have anything left in the tank? They bring in MVS. They bring in DeMarcus Lawrence. So there's some big names here, Sherman, Jane Charles, Josh Johnson, Nathaniel Bell. So they brought in a lot of guys. They lose Geno, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, Stone Frosty, Trey Brown. So they lost everything. They lost a lot of guys. Their defense was very young, but it was actually very good. They have Devin Weatherspoon, really great slot corner, Julian Love, good safety. Josh Jobe, not really sold on him as a corner. He's good and he's average at best. Rick Woolen, good corner. Ernest Jones, good linebacker, good run stopping linebacker. DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, don't forget about him. Brian Murphy and Jaron Reed. Great line there. What's your feeling on the Seahawks briefly?
I'm not a big Sam Darnold believer, but I do like the direction the team's going. Kenneth Walker's a good running back. If their weapons can be, okay, or decent. I think they could have a better team than people expect.
Yeah, they've made surprise people. The NFC West is wide open. The Rams depends on Matthew Stafford's back. All right, let's get into the 49ers. Like I said, a lot of departures. They lost Debo Samuel. They lost Tolona Hufanga. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong again. Charchavius Ward, Dree Greenlaw, Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Elijah Mitchell, uh, Brandon Allen, Joshua Dobbs, Rock Yassin Isaac, and Nick McLeod. So a lot of changes in that defense, which used to be their go-to, their pal, what they were known about. Um, Brian Oyuk is hurt for this game. He's probably not going to play. Oh, he's not playing, I should say. Christian McCaffrey's questionable in this game. They did get Brian Robinson Jr. in a trade. Brock Purdy, do you believe in him? I think that's everybody's question. So they're going to have Juwan Jennings and Rick Parsall starting at wide receiver. They still have Trent Williams, are still one of the best left tackles. Nick Bosa, hope they need to have one healthy season from him. He's still there. Fred Warner's great safety. If he's still healthy, he's still top 10 linebacker, still a top 10 linebacker. So there it is, man. So when it comes to 49ers, tell me if I'm wrong. Would you agree on me? A lot of question marks on both sides of the ball. Wide receivers are completely different from last year. Debo and Ayuk. They have Jennings and Parcell. They still have, I forgot, Kittle still there. And their defense, complete change in general. So I think they have a lot of question marks. And, Brock Purdy, can he handle it, the juice, without his weapons?
Yeah, I think this is a tipping point year for the Niners. Shanahan's been there forever. They've drafted really poorly, so Lynch might be on the hot seat. They need to play well this year, and starting off the year with their a lot of their weapons already hurt. It's they're not off to a strong start.
Great. And, I think as the books have it, it's going to be a close game. So I'll let you take away. Who do you got? Who do you think?
Yeah, I don't like this game.
It's going to be a good game, but I think it's hard. I think it's hard. I think it's going to be tough to bet.
That's what I meant. But I'm going to go with the Niners. I think they're better coached, and I think they'll pull it out.
Yeah. So I do like the head coach better. The McDonald, I think, or McDonald, the coach for the Seahawks. He's a defensive minded head coach. But I'm going to take the Seahawks. Not just keep on going against you, like you said. Give me the 2.5 points to a home team. It's very hard to play in Seattle. It's one of the hardest places to play. And their defense was young and ferocious. I think they take the next step forward. I think they hold Brock Purdy. So give me the Seahawks plus the 2.5. So on this next matchup, usually we break things down a little bit more. We do the depth chart, but I think this is going to be easy decision for me and Adam here. We have the Broncos versus the Titans. The Broncos being favored by 8.5 points, and the over/under being 42.5. Look it. You'd be lucky the Titans get a double-digit points. I'm just going to stay right here, right at the moment. One team is rebuilding, and they're in the beginning stages. They have no wide receivers. Calvin Ridley, he didn't look too great. I think he's a little slower than he was from previous years, from the Atlanta Falcon years, the Jaguars. The running back room is garbage. They do have some pieces on defense, but the Broncos are on the up and coming. They had the number one ranked defense from last year coming this year. Give me the Broncos. Easy decision for me to cover the 8 points. Adam, what do you want to say about this matchup?
Yeah, I totally agree. Broncos offense should be even better this year. Their defense is going to be awesome. I think Cam Ward is just going to get smashed in the face on his first week in the NFL, which is, the Titans' tradition. So they cover this one easy.
Yeah, I totally agree. The new additions, Greenlaw, Evan Ingram for the tight end, the safety from the 49ers, and J.K. Dobbins, when he's healthy, is a good running back. Easy pick for me. Broncos demolish the Titans. Hopefully Cam Ward, hopefully he doesn't get injured. Hopefully he plays decently. But give us the Broncos on this one. All right, we have another divisional matchup. A lot of divisional matchups in this game. It's pretty insane. We have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Buccaneers in Atlanta. The Buccaneers being favored by 1 point, 1.5, wherever you can get it, and the over/under being 47.5 to 47 points. This is a big moment for the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix, full year starting. Kirk Cousins being the backup, very expensive backup, if you will. BJ Robinson, everybody has this guy, number one fantasy player. Everybody's drafting him. Drake London, can he, can he live up to the hype? I think he kind of showed he could last year, so good for him. After him, I'm not a really big fan of anybody else. There, Mooney, McLeod. Is Pitts going to live up to the hype as all that stuff he was getting? Let's see. I'm not buying it. But when it comes to me, the Falcons, all right, I'm just going to jump on it right away. I am not a Falcons believer. Is this defense? They had the worst rush after getting after the quarterback than any team in the NFL. They were terrible. That's why their first two picks were defensive linemen, defensive ends, pass rushers to get after the quarterback. I'm still not buying it. Leonard Floyd, they bought under 1-year deal. They're hoping he's old. He's getting long in the tooth. They're hoping he brings something and he gets out of it. They still have Jesse Bates the third and AJ Terrell, so they have two guys back there that could help. But that front seven, I am not buying it to get after the quarterback.
No, I think the Falcons have struggled with that for forever, like you said. I think Penix should have started last year. I don't know why they went after Cousins. And I just don't believe in the Falcons. I'll believe it when I see it. I think the Bucs have a solid team, and the Falcons are just maybe they'll turn it around this year. Maybe Penix is the guy, but yeah, I still just don't believe in them.
Right, exactly. And let's just jump on the Buccaneers. Firepower times firepower times firepower with this team. They have Buck Irving, Rashad White, and Sean Tucker. That is a great three-headed running back. Baker Mayfield had one of a career year last year, rushing and throwing the ball. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin Jr. is still off for the game, so remember that. But when he's healthy, great. So Mike Evans, the number one pick they got from Ohio State, Agukpa, I think his name is, right? I hope I'm saying that right. They still have Sterling Shepard. They still have Jalen McMillan is hurt in this game, but wide receiver room is great. Cade Alton, what came out of was his breakout year last year as a tight end. And they still have Tristan Wirfs at left tackle, great left tackle, but he is hurt in this game. So be careful with that. So there is some injuries here. I get that. They did bring in Hassan Reddick in the offseason, so that helps them get after the quarterback. They bring in Anthony Walker, so they bring in more linebacker help. They still have Jamal Dean, really good linebacker. When it comes to the, cornerback, Dean's a cornerback. When it comes to them, the Buccaneers, it's their corners. They were Swiss cheese last year. And Winfield Jr. is good. Bringing in Jamel Dean is going to help. But I think this what it comes down to, in my opinion, is can the Falcons get after Baker Mayfield, and can the Buccaneers just overpower them with their offense? And I think they can. I'm going to go out and say it. I like I can't believe the line is this small. Give me the Buccaneers to come in and beat the Falcons and straight up, or I'll have them cover the 1.5 points. I think just too firepower. Baker Mayfield is a far better quarterback in my opinion. But what's your take?
No, I totally agree. I think it could be a coming out party for Micah Parsons. The fantasy community is super hyped around him. He's looked good so far, and I think they're going to put up points, and I don't think Atlanta can stick with them.
Yeah. So, I have too many question marks for Michael Penix and that pass rush for the Atlanta Falcons. I can't put no money on that, but I'd like the Buccaneers winning this division and covering this game. So give us Buccaneers to cover all the way for this divisional game. And this matchup is quite weird. I wouldn't think an opener for the Texans versus the Rams would be on here, but they are. But they're two playoff teams, so it has a great matchup. This is going to be a fun game to watch. We have like I said, Texans versus the Rams. The Rams being favored by 3 points, and the over-under being 43.5. Remember, shop your books. I'm going to keep on saying that because that's how you beat the books. You got to shop all of them and get the best number available. So both teams went to the playoffs, right? These teams, I think the Texans have a good shot winning their division. And the Rams, if Matthew Stafford is healthy, I think they'll win their division too. So actually a good matchup, even though it's a weird week one matchup. Let's start away with the Rams. The Rams, they do bring in not the biggest names, but the biggest name they did bring in was Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, I know he's getting a little old. Devontae Adams, I'm sorry, how did I forget that? Devontae Adams, I know he's a little bit long in the tooth, if you will, but I think he still has something in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially as a number two, with slowing down a little bit, with great hands, good routes. he's going to be just fine, especially with Matt Stafford.
Great. And I do want to mention that they did bring in Puna Ford. He was also their big acquisition. They signed him to a 3-year, $27 million deal. Great run defender. And that's just going to help that defensive line, Brian Young and Kobe Turner and Jared Verse. That's just going to help that whole front seven. You got a guy who could stop the run there. So they have a great offense. Obviously, we know that, but it all depends on Matthew Stafford's health. Is that backing a problem? A back is not good for a quarterback. I'm just telling you guys, they got to bend, they got to move, they got to dodge guys. And if they get sacked, the back is one of the first things that gets hurt. So I'm not really confident that hopefully, he stays healthy. But wide receiver room, great. Puka Nakua, one of the best hands in all in the NFL. Adams, Tutu Outwell, good speedster. They have Tyler Higbee and Terrence Ferguson, nice tight end combo. Oh, and the Kyrie Williams and Blake Corum and Hunter, Jarquez Hunter, that's a solid running back room. We got Kyrie Williams, he's a good bruiser. Great. And their offensive line, good, not great, but it's good. I don't think it's the best offensive line, but I do like the right tackle, Rob Haverson. So really great, solid offensive line. Defense seven, their front seven is their meat potatoes. That's what they could be an actual top 5 front seven. Ford, Turner, Young, like I said, Veras, Spites, and they also have Weatherspoon as the cornerback starter. Great cornerback. How's your overall on the Rams? What do you think about them?
Yeah, I agree with you. This all comes down to Matt Stafford. I mean, when healthy, he is a straight up assassin. I mean, this offense could be scary good. They get hot and they put up a lot of points. So it all depends on health, even with the wide receivers too. Devontae Adams older, Puka Nakua has been injured. So if they can stay healthy, they're going to be really good.
Good point. Good point. If the wide receivers go, Adams and Nakua, that could be a big problem for them, and they have to turn to a running team. And talk about a team that been made to the playoffs, but and made some good acquisitions. But let's talk about the Texans. C.J. Stroud. A lot of people are a little bit down on him now because the second year. I still like him a lot, but he was sacked like nobody's business. So give the guy a break. I still think he's going to be a good future quarter. He's going to win better quarterbacks in this league for years to come. So they got him. Nick Chubb, they signed him. He's going to be the starter. Mixon, he is out. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but it's indefinitely, I think. I don't like the signing Nick Chubb. A lot of things coming out that his burst is gone. Damian Pierce is the second guy. Not really moving it for me. Wide receiver room obviously is the best thing about them. Nico Collins, guy's a beast. Jalen Noel, not bad, but then they have Christian Kirk, but he is out for the game. So Christian Kirk is out for this game. So is Braxton Berrios, the other guy they signed. Tank Dell, he's hurt from that bad injury from last year. He's going to get healthy, but when they're all healthy, Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell, and the guy they drafted, Jaden Higgins, that's a great wide receiver room. But right now they're hurt. Tight end Dolan Schultz. But let's talk about the offensive line. They traded Tunsil, which I couldn't believe they traded Tunsil. They have now. I mean, there's a lot of these guys I do not know. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like I know Titus Howard, the right tackle. I've heard of him. Jake Andrews, I've actually heard of. But the guy was sacked like nobody's business. I think he's the number 1 sack quarterback last year, and they traded Tunsil. That is worrisome.
And he's a small quarterback. I
Yeah.
mean, they're like the Bengals, but even worse in all the bad areas. It's extremely top heavy with Nico Collins. He's a beast. He was hurt last year though, right? Like these guys can't take that many targets. I see this all unraveling, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
like CJ Stroud, but I don't know how he can succeed with an O line like this.
Totally agree with you. What they're depending on is their defense, which has the potential to be top 3, number 1, even defensively. They have arguably the best DN combo and Will Anderson Jr. and Darnell Hunter. They could sack any quarterback, go one-on-one against any best offensive lineman. Mario Edwards Jr., Sheldon Rankins, Ezeal Al-Shahir, Christian Harris, Derek Stinley Jr., great corner. They got CJ Garden Johnson, great trade for them for when they got for the Eagles. They basically gave the Eagles nothing. And so their defense is going to be bread and butter. It's going to be amazing. But like you said, it comes down, can that line protect CJ Stroud so he could get the court to do his weapons? So that being said, man, These teams, I'll go first. It's all if Stafford could stay up end and healthy. Basically, that's what they need to do. Can the offensive line protect him? Because a good whack could set him off. And this front seven for the Texans can get after him. And for the Texans, can their offensive line protect him? Can he get the ball to Nico Collins? So this is tough for me. It's tough for me because I'm not. I don't. Nico Collins is. Matthew Stafford's health, but I'm going to take the Rams at home. Give me the 3. I think they'll cover the 3 points. I think that Jared Verse could probably go to that offensive end like Swiss cheese, and I think they'll get after CJ Stroud, unfortunately.
I'm betting with you on this one. I think Matt Stafford has dealt with this injury for a long time, and some of it's a little overhyped. That's what I'm banking on. And I agree. I think the O-line for the Texans is going to be a huge liability. It's going to get exposed.
All right, guys. So there you go. Weird first week game for these two teams meeting up, but two playoff teams going at it. And, keep an eye out, because for the injuries, because, Matthew Stafford, you'll see how you'll just keep up to the news before you bet on this game. That's all I'm saying. But we're both taking the Rams to cover the 3 points. All right, guys. As we said, we're going to keep our best bets and our predictions. You'll see them as the season goes on. So we're going to pick our 3 favorite bets for every week. I'll start. Give me the over on the Giants and the Commanders game. I think that Jaden is going to put a lot of points. He's going to run around a lot too. So I think there's just points to be scored. That they have a lot of weapons. The Giants have Malik Neighbors and Russell Wilson is there. I think there's going to be points scored in this game. I know it's a divisional game, but give me over the 45.5 points. And the second game, I think me and Adam both agree on this one. I just don't see how the Tennessee Titans will score any points. I don't see it. This could be even be a 14-0 game, 20-0 game. The Broncos have to score that much to even cover this. I like the Broncos to cover the 8.5 points. The Titans just have no weapons on offense. They don't have a good running back room. They just have one wide receiver. Tyler Lockett and those rookies are not it. And Cam Ward, I feel like he's going to be running around a lot from the Broncos. And the Broncos have the defensive player of the year in Sutton. And my third and final best bet, which is kind of a twofer, I like the over in the Panthers and Jaguars game. I think both these teams have weapons galore, wide receivers and running back. And I'm not really liking their defense, but especially the back seven for both these teams. But also give me the Panthers plus the 3.5 points. I think the Panthers coming to Jacksonville will surprise a lot of people. We'll just take the over. But give me, if I'm as a betting man, I'm gonna take the Panthers plus the points too. But how do you feel, and what are your picks, Adam?
Yeah, so my top 3 picks are like Mark. We're gonna start off with Denver covering the 8.5 with like a Thursday night football style blowout in a trash game. The second one, I'm gonna say Drake May leads the Patriots to win by over 2.5. Starting out hot. And then finally, I think Pittsburgh's going to beat up on the lowly Jets and easily cover the 2.5.
Yeah, well, here's hoping that I beat you in best bets, and here's the hoping I beat you in the regular season. But guys, this is not. We're friends, but we're just not picking each other's game. Teams, and but this is great. We both have 3. We have one best bet we both like similar, and we have 2 different ones. So there will be some. We'll see who wins at the end of the season. First week in the NFL, guys. It's going to be crazy. Remember, bet responsible. Shop your books for the best number, and take the first week with a grain of salt. It's going to take a few weeks to figure out what trends are good, or what teams are coming out of the woodwork or coming out of their shells to actually be the better teams. So with that all said, me and Adam, thank you guys. We're gonna be on a better schedule. Our weekly picks won't come out this late, but life gets in the way. We're busy, guys. So with that, guys, thank you. Adam, anything else?
Nope. Go Packers.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Always, Eagles are 1-0. That's all I care about. Pay attention to next week. Like and subscribe. And always, guys, we will always see you in the next one.